Here's what's about to happen. First, the state's Ken Marino is in studio talking to Kevin about his new show, Burning Love. Then Jessica Chobot will travel north to tinker with the mad scientists at the Maker Faire. And we'll show off an insane radio-controlled helicopter that can fly over skyscrapers on Robot News. Then on Gadget Prawn, we'll put Jawbone's Jambox to the test. Check your safety belts. Attack of the Show starts right now.
What a week it was. It's my last weekend edition, by the way.
I don't want to hear that.
You guys don't have to be sad. You should be excited. Like, it's a good time.
Y'all are crazy.
Now let's be surprised. I like that. That's good.
You're amazing. I like our audience. Are you going to miss them?
Really good. Best audience ever, if I may say so.
I agree.
I think
Best
they really
audience ever.
really are. Best audience money can buy right there. We pay them nothing. I don't even know their names. Just don't care. This week was totes awesome.
Why is that, Kevin?
Because, well,
Because I thought you hurt yourself.
that's what I meant to say. It was tragic for me. I had a terrible back injury from too much leveling in Diablo, and it rendered me unable to host.
Yeah,
but I
shame.
magically leveled my wizard very high, level 54, I
And
believe
you're feeling
now,
so much better.
Hooray! It's a
Yay!
miracle, Diablo miracle.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys ever heard of Chernobyl?
In the film Chernobyl Diaries, a group of adventure seekers are stalked through the ghost town near the remains of the Chernobyl meltdown. But how do nuclear meltdowns like Chernobyl actually happen? And what's the aftermath? Strap on your radiation suit, because it's time for some f***ing science. The first thing you need to know is how a nuclear power plant works. Think of it as a complex tea kettle. By boiling water, steam is produced, which powers turbines to create electricity. To get the water to boil, however, reactors must rely on a process called nuclear fission. By submerging fuel rods made up of radioactive uranium, atoms are split in half, causing heat to be given off and neutrons to be created. These neutrons are then absorbed by nearby atoms, making them unstable. This forces these atoms to split and generate even more heat and even more neutrons. Eventually, the cycle becomes self-sustaining, creating a nuclear chain reaction and producing an intense amount of heat, which gives us our boiling water. In fact, the heat becomes so intense that if left unchecked, the entire system would melt. To prevent this from happening, engineers insert neutron-absorbing control rods into the water to maintain the nuclear reaction. The reactor is also cooled by pumping water through the system to carry away the excess heat. However, if this coolant system is shut down or somehow damaged, the temperature can build up rapidly, causing the water surrounding the radioactive rods to boil off. If uncovered, they generate massive amounts of heat and will quickly melt the fuel rods, spreading radioactive isotopes. Hence the term nuclear meltdown. If the steel containment system housing the reactor collapses, it'll send these radioactive elements into the environment, causing fallout and contamination. Short-term exposure to this radiation causes nausea and vomiting. However, long-term or severe exposure is much more dire, producing everything from genetic mutations to cancer to death within 48 hours. Unfortunately, this nuclear contamination also leaves the area surrounding the power plant uninhabitable, and depending upon the size of the meltdown, like Chernobyl, it can spread across the continent. It's been 26 years since the Chernobyl disaster, and only now are people allowed to visit for short periods of time. But hey, why risk it? You can just stay inside and catch Chernobyl Diaries instead.
Hey, this is Maddie Sumida, associate producer on Attack of the Show. Coming up, we get an in-studio demo of one of the coolest aerial camera rigs we've seen, the Octocopter. So don't go anywhere.
This portion of Attack of the Show is brought to you by Chernobyl Diaries. Experience the fallout. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
best videos.
Yes, the first pick answers the question, what's red, fights fires, and lives in a shoe?
That is the smallest fire truck. That's a sweet fire truck.
That is adorable!
Precious! I love that.
I want to set
want
little
one.
teeny tire fires just so they can come on and put them out. You know what they say about tiny fire trucks, by the way?
No, I don't.
Tiny hoses.
Yeah. I bet it does have a little tiny hose.
I bet it does. Yeah.
Oh, how cute.
But we
I
shouldn't
wanna
laugh
see
at it and call it out in front of it because maybe it'll damage its feelings
Yeah,
and make it
that's true.
feel uncomfortable about being
That's
naked in
true.
front of people or on the internet.
When TV reporters make mistakes, they tend to be fairly epic.
4's average, right? I mean, come on, it's fine. But nothing compares to ABC 7's Lucy Yang, who has invented a whole new breed of failure.
Now, there was a fourth Gibb brother, Andy Gibb, who had a solo singing career. He died of heart failure at the age of 30.
No, guys, stop it. Please stop it. I know it's tempting to make jokes about fart failure, but that's how we lost Corey Haim. That's how he died.
No, it is not.
It's absolutely true.
No, Kevin.
Oh, it sounds like someone's been listening to the lamestream media, Candace. Read the autopsy report, okay? Also, vote Ron Paul. Coney 2012!
Oh, Kevin. Children love to learn new things.
Just watch as this kid teaches his school chums the all-important lesson, how to put your nose into your brain.
I've been doing this for a few years, like, so I can go like one hand, no hand, I suppose.
Poor kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that'll teach that kid to try.
What happens when Hollywood and robotics collide? Motion picture magic reaches new heights. It's called the Cinestar 8 Octocopter. And with the ability to loft some of the world's best cameras almost a mile high, this remotely controlled aerial platform is setting new film industry standards. The secret to this bird's eye bot is in its lightweight carbon fiber body and built-in gyro stabilization technology. Together, this machinery makes increased flight time and high-flying cinematography possible, even on breezy days. And it may pack some complex capabilities, but this bot's setup is simple. Just strap on a lithium polymer battery, rig up your camera, and get ready to fly. But if operating the copter remotely doesn't suit your schedule, set its onboard GPS to semi-autonomously traverse up to 30 pre-programmed waypoints. And you can watch what you're getting with this wireless video feed. Now, if you're itching to get your hands on the Cinestar 8 Octocopter, visit quadrocopter.com. The kit will cost about $8,500, but if soldering computer chips isn't your specialty, opt for a pre-built bot for $15,000. Sure, it's an investment, but with the blockbusters you'll be filming, it'll practically bankroll itself.
Thought that was it for Robot News? Well, think again, because we have Matt Myra and the Cinestar 8 Octocopter in studio. Check this thing out. Awesome.
It's dangerous, I think. And with us to show it off are Jeff Moriarty and Matt Harrier from Laminated Pictures. Now, guys, the Octocopter is a robotic platform for a camera. Can you tell us a little bit about how it works? I mean, obviously we know how a helicopter works, provides lift, but how does this thing work?
Sure. Well, it's a gyro-stabilized, multi-rotor aerial camera platform.
That's a lot of words.
It's always best to make it sound as important as possible. But everyone just calls it an octocopter. You know, you're not actually telling it to stay level, it's leveling itself out. So I'm just telling it how high to go.
Wait, so it's already self-aware?
It is. In fact, it has GPS. You could tell it where to go. and it'll just do it for you if you want it
You
to.
just type in where to go?
You can do that. You can actually program on a map in a computer where you want it to go, up to 30 different points, and it will just go.
So I could send it to my mom's house.
You could, yes.
Just moms, Kardashians, and just go.
Now, you guys built this thing yourselves. Do you recommend someone else building it themselves or getting it pre-assembled?
We'd never soldered before, so I think there's a lot of learning curves for us, and it took forever. But
You guys never soldered before, and you said, let me build a helicopter?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, well, the idea was that we wanted to build it just in case something, if it went wrong, we'd know what it was and how to fix it, so we wouldn't be on some movie set just like having to call tech support.
So you're like your own Apple genius. You get to.
Yeah.
Were there directions?
Yeah.
There were
how to put it
directions.
together?
The funny thing is, one company makes the electronics, one company makes the camera mount, one company makes the body of it. So there was no IKEA,
That's how a TV show works. You did it.
So it's so new that there's no one unified group of instructions. You had to search everywhere. We had to call them at least 30 times, but
and a lot
it
of
is here and it does
forms, so that made it really difficult.
Wow.
But it's a lot more expensive when you buy it all together.
Yes, absolutely. It's 15 grand if you buy it built, which is great because you don't have to deal with any of the building.
Sure.
But it's 8,500 if you get it. Like
how much is it if I buy a kit and have you guys build it?
Right. We'll
30 grand. Yeah.
That's too much. All right, guys. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's see this thing fly in the air.
Yes, please. Right, step back.
Don't harm us. A lot of beeping. That's getting very loud.
Oh my God.
It sounds like every leaf blower you've ever heard at once. Very steady.
Smile for the camera. I don't think it's on it.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's keep going. Wow.
It is so loud.
It's pretty loud.
How high can this thing go?
1,200 feet typically.
1,200 feet.
That's what it's
1,200
capable
feet.
of.
It looks like a little dot in the sky when you get it up there. It's pretty freaky.
Wow. This thing is amazing.
Hovering. Hey, y'all want to land it?
Yeah, let's land it.
Oh, boy. Put her down.
There we go.
That was impressive.
Right, so
I didn't lose a limb. Thank you for that.
Yes.
A few little fuzzies flying around here. We'll
Our
take
studio
care of
has
those.
not been dusted since it was Tech TV. You say it goes up 1,200 feet. That is pretty much over the Chrysler Building. So you could be on the ground in New York, fly it up over the Chrysler Building. Is there legislation that says don't do that, or can you just go for it?
You'd have to have the proper permits, obviously.
So I go to the Octocopter office.
Right.
Not my permit.
If you can find it, yes.
Yeah.
Now, because this is so new, has legislation caught up at all, or is it just sort of like a thing where they say vaguely, you have a quadcopter or an octocopter, just don't fly it above X amount of feet?
Right.
Yeah, it recently caught up. It wasn't an issue where they basically had no one in Washington, D.C. that was monitoring this, but now you can. What is it, 400 feet over a city, 500 feet in the wilderness. So you're right below where an actual helicopter flies.
Exactly. You stop flying where other helicopters.
Right. So you don't have that, like, I'm flying and then all of a sudden
Helicopter
helicopter.
comes and
swipes it.
I just want all helicopters to be friends, you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
We should all share the airspace.
This is a really special one, though.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So the camera itself, you have on here, you have a 5D, a Canon
Mark
5D,
III.
a Mark III. Now, what else could you put on this? It'll lift about 10 pounds, you said.
Yeah, it'll go up to the Red Epic. There's definitely
Wow.
footage online of guys flying the Epic, and it looks amazing.
Here's the deal.
Oh, yeah.
One blade goes down, two blades go down. This thing drops your Red Epic. When do you start weeping?
Right.
And would your camera be okay if this thing fell out of the sky?
Yeah, I mean, the landing gear is actually, it's below the camera, so that would catch. I mean, even if you look at all of this, the way it's going to hit is going to be more like one arm.
Ruin the.
But at the end of the day, like, insurance?
Yeah. Insurance is important.
There's the answer. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff and Matt. Sinister 8 Octocopter. I love the name.
Hi, Maddie again. Coming up, we chat with actor Ken Marino about his hilarious new web series, Burning Love. So stay tuned.
Finding people that enjoy the same music as you can often be difficult. But now it's a lot easier to make a musical match with TasteBuds.fm. Originally debuting on the web, TasteBuds has made the leap to Spotify as a social networking app for music fans. When you fire up the app, it will scan your music library and playlists. It then calculates which artists you listen to the most, as well as your current favorites. With the data, Taste Buds generates a list of other people that have your same taste in music. From there, filter your matches even further to meet new friends, discover new songs, or maybe even flirt with a new crush. You can even link your account with other social sites like Facebook or Last.fm for extra personalized recommendations. The next time you find yourself in a musical funk, check out tastebuds.fm for free on Spotify or on the web. All right, folks, it's time to take a look at some burning love. This kind does not require ointment, so it's good.
Come on in. Have a seat. Before we get to the physical, I want to hear about the emotional.
Right.
What is it you're looking for in a soulmate?
Wow. That's a great question. That's a really great question. I guess I'm looking for someone who loves life the way I love life, you know? You know, someone who will be my best friend, but doesn't ask too many questions, because that's kind of annoying. Maybe somebody, I don't know, ethnic.
Did you say ethnic?
Yeah, like colored.
You mean African American?
I don't know if that's the proper term, but
It is.
Black.
African American.
Okay, African American. Maybe somebody even African American.
Well, we have put together a great group of girls.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
And I think one of them...
Is African American?
No, I think one of them is going to be perfect for you. Should we meet them?
Let's do it.
Please welcome Ken Marino! How are you, sir?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Doing very well. I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. It's a pleasure to chat with you.
Jeez, thanks.
I'm sorry that it has to be under the guise of this reality dating show that you're doing.
Why?
Do you watch these things?
I
like
do.
The Bachelor, The
I
Bachelorette, I don't know what else there is. Temptation Island. Is that one still on?
Reality shows in general.
Yeah, in general.
But the dating ones, yeah, I do watch them. I find that there are two different types of people who watch them. People who watch them for the romance and to get swept away in that,
Sure.
and then the people who are kind of like the same type of people who stop to look at like a car wreck. And I feel like...
Are you in it for the train wreck?
I am in it for the train wreck, the car wreck, although I'm starting to become a hybrid. I have to admit, I'm sort of swept away by it. There's a guilty pleasure in...
So now when Felicia doesn't get the rose, that is your car wreck now.
That's right. I'm a mess for like several days until I see what happens.
Do you watch solo? Do you get the guys together like a big UFC match and you get a couple dips?
My wife and I watch.
Okay.
We have been watching. She actually wrote Burning Love.
Right.
And then...
That's huge. Like, that's really, you got a good catch there. Someone who could create a series and then also create a series so that her husband can make out with a bunch of different women.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a good wife.
That is a good find.
No, but actually that's the weirdest part of it, because I directed it as well,
Right.
and you know, the idea that I have to be like, okay, now you have to make out with me. You know, or like we did a scene where all the girls are in a pool, and I walk out and they're all supposed to go crazy over me, and I'm like, okay, so I have to direct them to be like, I'm going to walk out the door, and then I want all of you to look at me and scream and be like, yeah, and just make me feel disgusting, kind of.
You've arrived. You've earned that. You've earned the right to tell a pool full of women, you should cheer when I come into this backyard.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, it's very uncomfortable.
Really?
As is this conversation right now.
Well, I'm happy to be half of this uncomfortable car wreck here.
No, it's mostly me.
But no, you have such an ensemble cast, though. Like, how does it feel ordering them around?
It's great. I mean, it's great. I mean, we were really lucky because we have Malin Ackerman and Kristen Bell and Adam Scott and Michael Ian Black, Ben Stiller. there's just a bunch of funny women, Janet Varney and Abigail Spencer, all these great people, and we.
But real
we're so lucky
amateurs
getting
on the
it.
set, though.
What's that?
Like the real amateurs on the
Yeah,
set, though.
so
You
they didn't know
really
what they
got
were
to tap
doing.
into the director's bone. And,
That's right.
and-
I had to really kind of show them the right way to perform because they're all they don't know what they're doing. There you go, Malin Ackerman.
And what's the, having this on something like Yahoo's Comedy Channel, like having this be the home for it, does that give you immense freedom? Do you not even care where it's going to actually be displayed? You just want to make the content?
I think what's great about it is, when you do something for the internet or you do a web series, you have a lot more freedom than doing like a big project where there's a lot more people looking at it and trying to kind of mess with it a little bit. And I think there's a certain freedom to doing a show like this on the internet because you have a singular voice and you can kind of come out and do what you want. And those type of projects tend to be more appealing to me and hopefully to other people.
Well, and I love that even as the character, Ken has his own Twitter account.
Yes. Mark Orlando has his own.
Mark does. I'm sorry.
Mark
Yeah,
Orlando has his own Twitter account. Yeah.
What are you writing that specifically? Is that something that you're just doing for fun now, or?
My wife and I. Nobody's going to know about this, right?
Nobody watches this.
No, I'm sure people watch, but we'll just edit this out.
Yeah.
My wife and I write it.
Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So it's not actually him.
It's not really him. He doesn't really do it. But he likes to LOL a lot when it's not appropriate. Right. So he just like writes something like brush my teeth today. LOL. Right. And then I started having like a Twitter war with him, where I was like, why is this guy laughing at stuff? Why is this guy laughing? And that's the war. It wasn't that impressive, the war. That's me.
It was over very quickly. That is you. The character loves from
himself.
We learned that he loves himself.
Yeah.
He fancies himself not a great guy, but just one of the good ones.
Just a good guy.
Which I love.
Just one of the good. Just one of the good ones. Yeah.
So much
I'm not
fun.
great. I'm just one of the good ones. Yeah.
And so between this and which looks so funny, between this and everything else, where do you get recognized the most? Like where? Is there a particular project that people go, I remember that?
Different. I can gauge, different people recognize from different things.
Sure.
Like I've done some kind of cult comedy things, and then I've done like Dawson's Creek, and
I'm sure you get Dawson's Creek. I'm sure you get Wet Hot American Summer.
And then I like there's some like sci-fi guys or people who like Reaper and stuff like that. But the weirdest one I get, and I get it quite often, which is a testament to I guess Disney World where it's seen, is when you wait in line, when you wait in line on like rides and they have like videos.
Right, tell you how to buckle your safety belt and put your belongings in a
or
thing.
Like sometimes they do like it's like a little show. Yeah. I'm on the rock and roller the Aerosmith's rock and roller coaster.
In Disney World?
Yeah, Disney World, and we did it like I don't know.
I was like, how old is that coaster? That's like late 90s, right?
I did it. I shot it I think in '98, but I'm the sound board guy.
The sound tech.
And it's me, and I don't have any lines. I'm just like mixing sound and kind of looking back at Aerosmith, the band, and Ileana Douglas is their manager. And so she's like, you guys got to get out there, play some rock and roll music so when they're on the roller coaster, they enjoy it. Oh, I don't even know what and I'm just, all I do is this, and every once in a while you hear something they say, and I'm like,
that's amazing.
And then they all leave. They all leave, and I'm just there by myself, kind of laughing, like, wow, Aerosmith, yeah. And that's and then I get a
terrible way to level an album, by the way. The vocals are cutting in and out.
This is me. Yeah. That's how I mix sound. So that's the weirdest thing I get recognized from, the rock and roller coaster, the Aerosmith rock and roller coaster. But I made like $500 doing it, so.
Hey, a win-win, my friend.
Thank you.
Amazing. I wish we had that footage to pull up right now, but next time we'll drop it in post and we'll cut out the part about you guys writing the Twitter account. This interview's
nobody will know
when it hits air. I'm kidding, it's gonna be great. Ken, such a pleasure.
Hey, thank you so much.
I appreciate it. And Burning Love looks fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man.
Can't tell you enough. It premieres June 4th, by the way, on Yahoo's Comedy Channel, so go check it out.
$500,000 is on the line as competitors vie to see who will become the first ever American Ninja Warrior, and exactly what happens when you pit muscular, oiled-up athletes against the most difficult obstacle course ever assembled on U.S. soil. Take a look.
Oh, and pretty easily through the first 2 steps. A little pause on the third and a 180.
James considers himself to be a well-rounded athlete, says the pole vault is what he really excels at. He's pumped up as he prepares his attack on the Bridge of Blades.
He is fired up.
Oh, he is almost in the water, Johnny. What a save, and now he is on the jump hang. Oh! And he smashed his face into the warped wall.
But he's got to be thinking about technique right now.
He's got it! Wow!
American Ninja Warrior, all new Sunday at 9/8 Central on G4. For more information, visit facebook.com/Ninja Warrior.
Hi, Maddie again. Still ahead, Jessica Chobot heads to Glen Helen, California to witness the second stop in the Red Bull X Fighters World Tour. And Matt Meyer rates the small and stylish Jambox by Jawbone on Gadgetron.
Don't you miss carrying around your tunes in style? Well, this might help. It's the Jambox by Jawbone. The Jambox packs the power of that old boombox into an incredibly small speaker. It connects wirelessly to all of your Bluetooth-enabled devices and can be used as a speakerphone. This tiny wireless boombox can be yours for $179. You're gonna get stuffed into a locker if you march down the street with this. Hey, Matt Myra's here, everybody!
Hey! Hi!
2 adorable things in one shot.
We're special.
A couple weeks ago, we talked about the Bose SoundLink. We gave it a 5 out of 5. That's as many as we could possibly give it.
Yep.
Today, we're looking at its competition, the Jambox by Jawbone.
There it is.
It's pretty. I have one of these. They've been around for a little while. I like mine.
Yeah, this has been around for a little while. We kept getting viewer feedback submissions saying, hey, look at this thing.
Sure.
And I said, all right, fine. Here it is. It's small. It's a little bit taller than a Wiimote. It's like a very tiny thing. The device is wrapped in aluminum. And it's a nice grill. You have rubber on top and bottom, which is doubly good for grip, so it doesn't roll around on your desk when it's thumping. And it's also got the textured buttons. So this is actually a very good design. It does attract a little bit of dust, but other than that, it's pretty good. Simple controls on the top, volume up, volume down, circle button, which does some cool things like talk to you.
Battery is about full.
What?
Yeah. Thanks, Jambox.
That's so sweet, technology.
It's like Siri, but it doesn't need the internet to tell me things. On the side, we have a micro USB port, so you can update the software if you're ever going to do that. I wouldn't, but I'm just lazy. There it is. There's a 3-way switch right here. This will toggle on, off, and pairing. So it's pretty easy to pair, too.
Well, let's talk about that, because there's no real indicator lights other than around the power button. But it does have that crazy computer voice trapped in it. Does that help you pair the device?
Battery is about full.
It's still full.
Crazy
that battery.
It's such a good battery.
But
it's very simple to pair.
It helps you pair it, right?
Very simple to pair. Both SoundLink stores does the same thing. You flick that up, it starts blinking. You get your tablet out or your Bluetooth telephone, and you're ready to go. You simply just select it there, and you are ready to jam with the Jambox. The range is solid as well. It's 30 feet, they say. But I've never had a problem. So I don't know why they rate Bluetooth at 30 feet.
Well, they just don't want, because somebody's house will have a configuration where 30 feet away, it totally drops. Whether it's microwaving a Hot Pocket.
I used to lie to people at the Apple Store all the time when they came with Wi-Fi problems. Be like, oh, you got chicken wire in your walls, probably. Sorry, I can't help you. It was really just, I didn't know the answer. So that's what I said to you. And you believe me, you idiots.
That's the genius bar way. Well, people shouldn't be fooled by its size, though. The speaker can actually pump out pretty loud sound.
Yeah, it actually does. It's very surprising. This thing, I didn't have high expectations because it's so small.
Sure.
But
you think maybe it's like, what is it, a couple cell phone speakers crammed into a pretty case? Like,
yeah,
that's
I was expecting like a tinny, like, you know, the free speakers that sometimes some kid gets, like a backpack that has a speaker in it.
Right.
And you're expecting that kind of thing. But this thing pumps. It gets really loud at full volume. You got clear mids, excellent lows.
Good
I was
bass,
very, very surprised by that. But when you turn it up, it does distort. So that's a little bit of a bummer. This the case, when the volume is down mid-range, you're actually getting really good sound out of this thing.
Yeah.
But when you crank it, it's going
You're
to
going to want to
distort.
crank it, though, because to be honest, the high end on this isn't as high as some other portable speakers
Yeah.
or even some other docks.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to listen to it at max volume, and I agree. I think the highs do get a little lost in the shuffle.
And the audio is very directional. So this thing is you point it at your face. That's where you want
Right.
it. You want it right here. That's where you listen to things. All that said, the sound quality very impressive for the size that this thing is.
All right, now this thing, according to the box, can
Yeah.
also be used as a speakerphone.
Yeah.
According to that breathy sound you just made, tells me it's probably not the best speakerphone in the world.
Let me tell you, it was terrible as a speakerphone. This was nice.
Battery is about full.
Love that.
Okay, yeah.
But that's as clear a voice as you're going to get out of this thing.
Right.
The phone sounded really distorted, and people had a hard time hearing me. So as
Well, those
far
are really
as I
the
know,
two qualities of any good phone conversation,
That's
is being able
how-
to hear somebody and them being able to hear you.
I have heard old recordings of Graham Bell going, "Watson, I need you," and it sounded better than this thing did.
So you're saying record your conversations to wax cylinder, send
Yeah.
them to a friend, use this only for music.
Yeah, just FedEx it overnight. You'll be having a better conversation than with this thing. The noise cancellation, I think that's part of the issue here. This is a Jawbone. It looks like a Jawbone Bluetooth headset.
Sure.
It looks exactly like one. It's got some of the same noise canceling features in here, but it didn't really work that well. Maybe there's going to be a software update. I don't know. I doubt it, though.
All right, well, what about that battery? Because last 3 times we checked, it was
Oh.
almost full.
Well, let's see.
Battery is about full.
Excellent battery
it's about
life.
full,
It's
okay.
still about full, everybody. We were streaming Spotify for about 3 hours, and it had a significant amount of battery, almost full, in fact.
Wow.
The Jam.
That's the only thing it knows how to say, by the way.
That's all it says. The Jambone says the average battery life you're going to get is about 10 hours.
Okay.
And I don't doubt that. One cool thing, though, the battery life is displayed on your iPhone as well. So it's right there.
Oh, look, it's about full.
It's about full right there, and it looks like the old Apple Bluetooth headset that failed miserably.
Yeah, anybody remember that?
No one does.
Just one guy crying in
See,
a corner.
Apple, you
A
can
waste of
suck
money.
at things too.
Oh. It's that chicken wire in the walls, man. It messes up all their
That's
products.
probably a problem. I mean, you should probably got a bad plist file somewhere in your. Yeah, let's restart
In
that.
your RAM base?
Yeah.
We'll flash that.
I would just blow out folders and they'd think it was fixed, but it wasn't.
That's
it wasn't.
Do I really have to lose those photos of my child? I don't know.
Yeah,
You want to connect to the internet ever again?
Yeah. Those
Delete.
kids gotta go. Sorry.
You can get the Jam Box.
Remember
by
the
Jawbone.
first birthday with your memories, not your pictures.
Steve Jobs doesn't care about your kid. $179 is what this thing costs. If I believe it, it's $179.99. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
It's 1 penny less than
What's
money.
the verdict, Matt Myra?
We're giving it 4 out of 5.
Hey!
Because of the size. So it pumps out I'm sorry, I accidentally hit that button that time. Sound quality for the size is very impressive. Bluetooth connectivity is very solid. Speakerphone, if it worked, I would say 5 out of 5, but it doesn't. This is a good device. It's a unique sort of thing for portability and sound. If you're looking for something to take with you that sounds pretty good, this is not a bad idea.
Podcasts in the shower or throw it in a
Yeah.
bag and take it to a hotel. It
I
works.
love listening to myself on podcasts in the shower.
You're all I listen to.
It's
in
a
the shower.
weird thing.
He's all I do.
Thank you.
He gets me clean.
I do.
That's it for Matt Myra and Gadget Prawn. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you.
What do you need to fly through the air at amazing speeds, do crazy tricks, and land without breaking every single bone in your body? Well, you need bikes, bikes, and more bikes. Since 2001, the Red Bull X Fighters Tour has pitted the world's greatest freestyle motocross riders against each other to determine who can showboat better than the rest. And that tradition continued this month in Glen Helen, California. This year's course offers over 30 different riding options and is the brainchild of Dave Herron, who's been building these bad boys for over 10 years. How did you get involved in all this?
Well, I was a professional motorcycle rider before I started working in the construction field, and 10, 15 years ago, the freestyle motocross scene was picking up, and we needed somebody to build a track.
So what does it take to build a track like this behind us?
Well, this has been about 3.5 weeks, and a crew of about 10, and about $150,000 worth of heavy equipment. A lot of hard work.
So how much dirt do you guys move around or bring in or get rid of?
Well, in a typical average X-Fighters, we use about 250 to 800 truckloads. That's from the smallest to the largest. And here we calculated roughly about 3,000 truckloads. From the largest course we've ever built, this is 3 times the size.
What happened that made you decide one day, you know what, I'm just gonna throw this bike as hard as I possibly can through the air and hang on by like my toes?
It is just a slow progression. Like if I went too hard and tried at first go, you're probably going to crash and you're going to have to be on the couch for 6 months. So you just take everything slowly. Like I would have started with just putting my feet at the handlebars and grip them with my feet and then slowly take my hands off. And then all of a sudden you're fully standing up like this with your feet under the bars.
Do you ever get to the point where you're just like, this is too much work, it's too much pain?
Not really.
No.
This is what I grew up doing, and whenever I was at school and the teacher said, what do you want to do? I want to be a motorbike rider. And then as I got older, they're like, no, you really have to think about what you want to do. And I'm just telling them, this is what I'm going to do.
Give me a rundown. If I wanted to join in and like try out FMX for myself, can I just buy a bike off the street, or do I have to get everything custom made?
It starts with a bike that you get right out of the bike shop. Biggest mods that we do to the bikes when you get them stock is the suspension is revalved and modified to make it stiffer for the jumps that they're doing. They change the gearing a little bit to make them have the right power that they're using for these tricks. Most of them run modified pipes and silencers, aftermarket ones, Pro Circuit or FMF. Most of the guys have the motors done on the 2-strokes. The 4-stroke guys are running stock motors most of the time. These flip levers right here, that's for when they do the big super flips, upside down flips. When they go upside down, they hit here, and that's what keeps their body to rotate back onto the bike. Everything right there. When they do the tricks where they're grabbing the seat, they're not really grabbing the seat, they're grabbing the subframe right here. And one of the other things that these guys use to do some of their tricks is a steering stabilizer, and this one's made by GPR, the company. Basically, when they're doing no-handed tricks, the bars aren't just staying perfectly there by themselves. You can turn this knob and make this thing stiffer as you go, and like that's real stiff. So when they're doing no-handed tricks, it keeps the bars straight so they don't crash.
Added on and modified, added it all together, how much would that roughly run you?
This bike right here probably would cost you about 12 grand to build. The bike itself costs about 6,500.
Thanks to his gravity-defying performance, USA's own Todd Parker took first place. But the battle's not over as the X-Fighters move to Istanbul, Turkey for round 3. Who will take home the $1 million prize? Right now, it's all up in the air. When it comes to motocross, no one is pushing the metal more than these guys. Just remember, folks, please do not try any of these tricks at home, or else you're going home in one of these. Not cool.
X-Fighters airs as part of the Red Bull Signature Series on NBC Saturday, May 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.
Oh, time conversions, awesome. Hey, do you guys want a game console? Of course you do.
Then enter the Console Day giveaway presented by the all-new Ford Focus ST.
Just go to g4tv.com/road2e3 to register, and they probably won't spam you if you do.
Yay.
I mean, you can always opt out later.
Hi, Maddie again, still ahead. Jessica Chobot checks out the most practical and impractical creations at this year's Maker Faire. So stick around.
On the next attack of the show.
It's Kevin's final week, and we'll say goodbye with special live guests including Joe Rogan, Evil Dead legend Bruce Campbell, and Kevin's one-on-one exit interview with Jerry Springer. We'll take a look back at our favorite moments from Kevin's years at G4 with special messages from Allison Hayslip, Olivia Munn, Zach Selwyn, Sarah Lane, Will O'Neill, and a live performance by DJ Mike Realm.
Coming up next week on AOTS.
Hey, you!
Huh.
Do you like crazy homemade robots?
Well, I think they answered yes. And you know what? Jessica Chobot loves them too.
I know!
Wait a minute. Maybe she's a crazy homemade robot. Whoa. I'm gonna keep my eye on her just in case.
Each year, hordes of do-it-yourselfers and backyard tinkerers head out to the San Francisco Bay Area to show off their inventions. From the solar power to the fire spewing, there's a little something for everyone at Maker Faire. With over 100,000 visitors and 3,000 makers on hand, the Bay Area Maker Faire is a weekend-long party. So I've got the development here for Viper. What is the Viper?
Viper is a full-motion flight simulator based off a fighter from the show Battlestar Galactica.
What's actually spinning is an airplane fuselage from an old Piper Arrow. Inside we have a Recaro racing seat. We have a joystick and thruster. Those just hook up through USB. And basically what we're doing is through Arduino control, we're emulating a keyboard with all of our custom buttons and stuff on this panel.
How does one bring the command keys off of a keyboard onto a dashboard and still have it all work?
So what we're actually doing is we have an Arduino, which is a small microcontroller or a tiny computer sitting behind the dashboard, and all the buttons are wired up to that. And then that is connected to the computer and sends data to the computer saying which button to press. And then on a computer side, we have another program running, which actually emulates the key presses. So it's quite a long process, but it works.
We have a version of light cycle races. What we did with building this was trying to bring the physical and the digital together. So in the movie, you know, it's always about being in the grid. There's no more real life, there's the Tron life. Here we're trying to bring that together. So we built full-size light cycles, built a framework in Flash using Flare 3D. Arduino and Fidget's hardware brings the data from pedaling and steering right into the game. And then we actually learned how to weld, learned how to put bicycle parts together, taught a couple people how to solder, and built the bikes up.
So if you have an exercise bike, essentially, you can hook something up.
Bicycle. Yeah, regular bicycle. Just go buy like a magnetic fluid trainer and hook a sensor onto the back of it, and you can play in your living room. It's as responsive as it possibly could be, as a representation of what it might be like to actually be on the grid.
Oh, there you go, you jerk!
This is Gongqi Rin. It means light dragon or east rising.
What is it constructed of? Because it looks pretty damn intense.
I call it Detroitus. It's just found objects out of Detroit. All the tires are off like 75 and 94 where nobody gets paid to clean them up anymore. A lot of the metal is from other sculptors and other art projects that kind of had their life cycle already, and then instead of scrapping them, I just kind of went and asked people, friends of mine, if they had any big steel laying around. Almost all of it's found object, and it's built on a Dodge W300 1963 dump truck.
From start to finish, how long did it take you to build everything?
It took us about a year and a half.
That's it for Maker Faire 2012 here in San Francisco. This place is heaven on earth for DIYers. I'm heading back home and hitching a ride on this dragon. Call me Khaleesi! Yeah!
As you all probably know, Kevin is leaving the show after 10 faithful years of service. So we're dredging up some Kevin-centric classics.
Yes, way back in 2008, I did a commercial for this thing, the Beams. It's a harp. Well, they call it a harp. It's really just
touch it.
It's just some infrared beams, but that dude makes it look so cool with his shades, bro. This bit is probably one of my sexier moments.
Yes.
Passionate, stirring, intense, beautiful. These are the sounds of international performing artist Flacide Delou.
I am Flacide Delou, and for years I have studied only the most intense laser instruments under the laser monks of Tibet, until my fingertips became raw with peace and love. And now, it's time to blaze the light! Blaze the light! With your own set of beams, you too can become a virtuoso of the light and learn my most beloved techniques like tickling the ghost, Amber's alert, the finger blast, the Yahtzee, the lover's quarrel, the Lipton dip, and for her pleasure, save the light! I am deeply regretful that I cannot come to your house and stand behind you and show you these techniques myself.
Order Flacide Delou's Divine Secrets of the Beams DVD set and personalized Beams device.